A very warm welcome to IDFC First Bank presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 13. I'm Ritwika Gupta. Today, as the world marks World Sustainability Day, we pause to reflect on a defining question of our time. How do we balance growth with responsibility? Sustainability is no longer a choice or a compliance checkbox. It is a business imperative, a moral responsibility, and a driver of innovation and long-term value creation. To unpack these critical themes, I'm joined by three key voices in tonight's panel discussion. We have Sanjiv Rangrass, former Group Head for R&D, Sustainability and Projects at ITC, Dr. Anjal Prakash, Associate Professor, Research at ISB and Rajnath Ram, Advisor Energy NITI Aayog, Government of India. Mr. Sanjeev, Professor Anjal and Mr. Rajnath, thank you so much for joining us today on Leaders of Tomorrow. So I'd like to begin with the big picture, a common question for all three of you. Tell us, why is sustainability no longer optional but essential for every business and every economy today? Let's start with you, Sanjeev.
When I think of sustainability, two statements come to my mind which Mr. Deveshwar made. Number one is, the business of sustainability is the sustainability of business. These are embedded in my mind. And the second one is even more stark. Business cannot succeed in a society that fails. And we believe that if sustainability is not embedded, societies will fail.
Right.
So this value-led approach laid the foundation for a long-term transformation that would eventually span every business vertical within ITC. So when I look at this cutting across India, right, whatever be the status right now, I think it's just a matter of time before people either have adopted or will adopt. And I think recent weather patterns you see in India, the devastating floods, torrential rains. Okay, you look at Uttarakhand, cloudburst, and Punjab had torrential rain. So all these appear isolated incidents, but according to me, they're not really isolated. They're all connected to climate. So businesses that integrate sustainability into their core strategies,
sure,
through resilient infrastructure, sustainable supply chains, climate conscious operations, are better positioned to mitigate risk. For us, for the markets, for the investors and communities, that those who ignore environmental resilience, risk disruption, costs and reputational damage.
Absolutely.
To me, it's a strategic business imperative. Nature does not negotiate, businesses can.
Dr. Anjal?
Sustainability has been, whenever we talk about sustainability, it's always people think that it is at the cost of the profit. But actually, it is not. Sustainability can also be profitable. We're also talking about triple bottom line, that is people, planet, and profit. And that means sustainability is actually taking care of all these three dimensions. That means we are taking care of the people who are working for us or the external stakeholder that we have. Planet Earth, which is crucial, which also poses risk for businesses, especially in those conditions where people are having climate-sensitive businesses. And third is definitely profit. So I always say that sustainability can be profitable.
Mr. Rajnath?
Actually, sustainability has become a cornerstone for all the modern business strategy as of now. Because there is increasing environmental, social, and regulatory demands worldwide, and the ESG, particularly environmental, social, and governance metrics, are now the central to any investment decision. So, companies that disclose and act on a sustainability goals attract more capital and build stronger investor trust. So, therefore, to sustain the business, particularly this sustainability part is more important as of now.
Right. Sanjiv, coming to you, with over 4 decades at ITC, including leading sustainability, how have you seen the sustainability agenda evolve in Indian corporates? Is it becoming a strategic growth driver?
You know that environmental health and safety is also a component of sustainability. So when I joined ITC in 1982 out of IIT, it was viewed as a compliance driven function, and it was always considered as a pain to comply with. So, however, some board members took cognizance of this and said, hey, this is serious business for us. And that catalyzed a shift in our mindset from viewing EHS as a cost to recognizing it as a foundational business imperative.
Okay.
So, according to me, there'll be no resistance if the number one or the top people make it a non negotiable with real consequences. So, organizations clearly run the way the leaders drive it. So, this transformation, which happened on sustainability front, which started, according to me, on the EHS front, was not sparked by regulatory pressures or say investor mandates. It was rooted in conviction. So, getting back to your questions, it is evolving in other organizations. I would say a bit slowly. Whilst we pioneered and others pioneered, others have been a bit hesitant.
Yeah.
So if I were to very quickly look at 5 intervals, I would describe early 2000s as a compliance driven and philanthropy focused. I would look at phase 2, which is mid 2000s, as something which organizations like ITC, Tata's did, triple bottom line and strategic recognition. Very few companies recognized in the mid 2005 to 2010. 2010 to 15 is when the CSR got formalized through the Companies Act in 2013. So it became a regulatory and reporting momentum. So that aided the sustainability thrust a bit more. Global frameworks like GRI and UN SDGs started. So that resulted in more companies getting added on. Then 15 to 20 was more ESG integration and climate action. People started understanding and working on it. In the last 5 years, I would say people are seriously adopting it ever since the BRSR came in. And we're seeing carbon markets coming in. And I think these things do take time. And I would say I'm very hopeful of this being adopted by everyone. And the only focus that we need to make is on inclusion and employment generation.
Dr. Anjal, bringing you in here, with India's rapid urbanization, how can our cities become more resilient to water stress, flooding, and other climate-related shocks?
As you see that cities after cities in India and abroad also are actually facing increasingly the climate risk and disasters. If the cyclone strikes, the cities are the first to grapple with. And what we are saying now is that we have to work towards what we call resilient city planning. That means climate resilient infrastructure has to be built in, and that would mean significant investment in the infrastructure. That's number one.
Sure.
We also have to focus on the communities who have to cope with this entire process. Also, we have to plan the cities in a way that it doesn't strain the resources. At the same time, we also have to see that we protect the natural resource, especially the water and the forest bodies, which has been existed for a long time in the cities, but we have engulfed them in our urbanization process. So cities planning is a must, and it has to be at the center of all the investment that we are making in the cities. And the companies actually have to work around that, not crowding in the same place, but probably spread out, and looking at the resources at hand, we can actually plan that way.
Sure. Mr. Rajnath, shifting gears a little bit, I want to focus on energy now. Why is the energy transition so critical for India's growth story? What are the biggest opportunities and challenges do you see on this journey?
You know that we are facing the challenge of the climate change. And you can say a lot of the kind of climate impact is happening. You don't visualize the previous history of such kind of climate change happening. So you have to have a transition moving towards more cleaner energy sources. And the global, there is a move also, and India itself has declared to become a net zero by 27.
Right.
The energy transition is important because the global supply chain and the demand for the product is also changing, and there are also global pressure, and also the CBAM, because a lot of our businesses will impact because of the carbon border tax. So our business has to be made sustainable.
Sanjiv, coming back to you now, speaking of India's agriculture sector, what do you see as the most pressing imperatives in India's agriculture and food industry?
I work for the Agri Collaboratory. I'm a co-founder of a not-for-profit. So I normally relate my stories through Lakshmi, a smallholder farmer, through a lady. So like millions of farmers, she faces the brunt of extreme weather, whether it is the Uttarakhand, whether it is the Punjab. The farmers like Lakshmi, the most pressing imperatives are climate resilient farming. The person needs to know when to plant, what to plant. Those are important things. When will it rain? What should I put down? What fertilizer do I use? Right? How will I get water or not? Sustainable water management. Then I believe, if you personally ask me, we have seen the biggest revolution happening before us, which has taken several entrepreneurs out of misery of loans. That is the UP and Aadhaar. That is the biggest thing that has happened before us. I believe that agri, also with digitization, would impact at a population scale. So it's all about resilience, profitability, and secure livelihood.
It's time for a quick break here. We'll be back shortly. Stay tuned. Welcome back to IDFC First Bank Presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 13. You're watching our World Sustainability Day special panel discussion tonight. Listen in. So over to you, Dr. Anjal. Now, you have highlighted the importance of gender and inclusion in climate action. Why is it critical to put vulnerable communities, especially women, at the center of water and climate policies?
See, women are 50% of the workforce otherwise, right? So in the planning process is very masculine nature. What it does that and it's sometime by design, sometime by thinking, it excludes half the population, and these are the people who are actually most disbenefited by the climate process, especially the disaster when it strikes. The women are at the forefront of these problems that the communities face, and that's why we are saying that we have to do a climate resilient planning. The second, we also have to take women and the other vulnerable groups into account, because when the resources are limited, it should be directed to people who need it the most.
Right. I want to bring in Mr. Rajnath here. Now, like you mentioned, India has ambitious renewable energy targets. So let's understand, how close are we to achieving them, or what policy changes are needed to accelerate the progress?
We are achieving whatever the target we have made as of now. The major part remains with the achieving the NDC, the National Determined Contribution, achieving 50% of non-fossil based capacity. That is one. But on the renewable front, the promotion of solar, then wind, and then hydro, they are also taking a big shape to increase the penetration of this energy into the system. But this penetration also comes with the challenges, because we have to at the same time also integrate this renewable energy into our system. That grid integration, those other things has to be addressed, and the more technology has to play a major role while integrating, bringing some more connectors, the storage system into the system. But these technology, these emerging technology are at different stages of their maturity level. They are either at the conceptual stage, or they are either at the partial matured or some of the technology are matured enough. So there is a cost involved to it.
Sure.
So we have to also strike a balance that what should be the way forward under which we can address all the three issues of energy security, the energy affordability, and also the sustainability aspect. So all these three has to strike a balance.
Sanjiv, in your roles with Bayer, Zetwerk and McKinsey, you straddle between both Indian and global perspectives. So where is India leading the sustainability conversation and where do we need to accelerate?
India is leading, I would say, in inclusive and impact-driven sustainability models. But is something happening at a population scale like UPI? I'm not seeing it, like UPI Aadhaar. I'm not seeing that, right? So to me, I think the biggest unlock will happen when we take agriculture into a different realm of productivity, of quality. That is where you will have a population level impact impacting almost I would say 60% of the population. That is where the biggest unlock lies. So water stewardship, renewable energy, social inclusion. So something which we can impact millions of beneficiaries, which is uniquely global. So where we as India needs to accelerate is in technology adoption, transparency, market-based incentives. Also a large part of our governments are run through state. How do we motivate various states to move forward? So frameworks, policies. I think the other, if I look at Europe, if I look at countries there are fairly advanced and way ahead. Hence, they've brought in taxes, etc. I think there is some way to go. We are leading in a few areas because of the population, but there is still, I think, whatever I say, a long way to go to align with and to become a global benchmark and not merely a follower.
So, Dr. Anjal, coming back to you, now you have contributed to the IPCC reports. Tell us, how can we bridge the gap between climate science and policy making in India so that research translates to action?
Normally what is happening is that science and the policies do not meet, or mostly they are at loggerheads. What we see is that most of the decisions, which is especially fraud, climate action, are politically driven than scientifically driven. Let me just qualify the statement for you. When you have, that there has been areas which has been traditionally hit by cyclones or flooding for a long region, those areas must be protected, and there has to be a concerted effort to bring in climate resilience planning in those areas, despite the fact that they may be opting for different political parties, right? So there has to be a neutral planning, political neutral planning, which feeds into the environmental planning. And that's where we see that the science is telling us, the evidence are there, but actions are not there on ground. And that's where we see that there has to be a concerted process to bridge the science policy gap.
Okay.
I would say that it has to be a kind of amalgamation of science policy and the community initiatives that happens, and this has to go together for a better planning or a better infrastructure that we have to cope with the increasing risk of climate catastrophes that we are looking at this moment.
Right. Mr. Rajnath, how do we ensure that the benefits of clean energy reach rural India, small businesses and vulnerable communities without leaving anyone behind?
There are a lot of initiatives the government has taken. The one itself is the PM Surya Ghar initiative, where the incentives are provided to the certain class of the people. Government is also providing incentive in terms of providing clean cooking to the people, in terms of the Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana, under which the LPG connections are provided at the rural community. Now, the solar rooftop is one of the big way. They are helping, and also helping the small and medium enterprises, where various incentives are being provided to the small scale industries or micro enterprises which are running at the rural areas.
Well, fantastic. And finally, as we wrap this very impactful discussion, I want to get your closing remarks. On World Sustainability Day, what would your message be to businesses, policymakers and young leaders to ensure sustainability moves from being a buzzword to a way of doing business? Let's start with you, Sanjiv.
Number one, is stop treating sustainability as a cost, experience it, embrace it. It's a growth driver at the end of it. And that's what I discovered when I did implementation of EHS in ITC.
Okay.
Embed sustainability into every decision, from carbon positive operations to water stewardship. India is running in the red zone of water. That is something which all of us need to understand and appreciate. And let us not wait for the government to bring in stricter compliance before we before we commence our journeys. Policy makers, they need to push ahead, introduce carbon markets, then make the BRSR reporting a bit more stricter, and start rewarding, climate positive industries and give incentives appropriately. The bottom line and the last bit which I have to say is when business policy and innovation converge, sustainability becomes a way of life, a growth strategy, and a moral imperative for farmers, communities, and the nation.
Dr. Anjal?
I would say that we must prioritize sustainability that leads to cost saving through energy efficiency, waste reduction, and resource optimization. We also have to enhance the brand loyalty and the customer trust for the people, especially looking at the business perspective. And the sustainability is profitable. So please go for it. That's number one. And this is for the businesses. For the policymakers, I would say that please prioritize, and I would ask for a sub-district level planning where you can induct the climate risk and also look at the planning process, which helps the communities to better adapt to the changing process. That's second. And the third, which I'll actually ask for young leaders, especially the young professionals, the Gen Z population that has to be more conscious of the climate changes that is happening, and build behavioral changes around that, and also press for a better change process from the political parties and from the people around them. That is what my message will be.
Mr. Rajnath?
I think the sustainability is an important aspect, and everybody needs to pursue that, because the climate change is happening. One must recognize that the climate impact is inevitable, and long-term sustainability attracts the investors, build the brand reputations, is securing last advantage in the evolving global market, positioning themselves as a future-ready business. So sustainability is very, very much important as of now, and this is now becoming the cornerstone for the modern business strategy.
Sure.
The ESG frameworks now, companies that disclose and act as sustainability goals attract more capital, and globally also, and you can attract more capital from the global financial institutions also. The domestic financial institutions, and they are also now gearing up to go for more fund the type of projects which are more sustainable in nature.
Well, thank you so much, gentlemen, for being with us today on World Sustainability Day. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Right up. You take care. God bless you.
Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Thank you.
With that, it's a wrap on this edition of IDFC First Bank Presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 13. We hope you enjoyed the discussion. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.